Niagara Falls is a must-see. In addition to being beautiful, Niagara Falls has an interesting history, as it was the first state park in the country. If you are thinking of traveling here are the things you need to know before you go Niagara Falls, so you can make the most of your visit. The first thing you should know is that you can visit Niagara Falls from either the United States side or Canada. The American side of Niagara Falls offers beautiful natural areas, while the Canadian side offers spectacular views of the world's most famous waterfall. Niagara Falls has awesome attractions on both sides that you can add to your itinerary if you don't have time. Where is Niagara Falls? Niagara Falls is located along Niagara Falls River between the provinces of Ontario, Canada, and New York State, Buffalo, New York. In the coldest city to Niagara Falls in the United States. It takes about 7 hours to drive from New York City to Niagara Falls, which is about 400 miles. Most people who visit Niagara Falls, Canada travel from Toronto, which is just over 90 miles away. Other options include Hamilton and Mississauga, which are a bit closer. Which side of Niagara Falls is better? American side versus Canadian side. Don't worry if you only can see one side of the falls. On both sides of Niagara Falls, there are plenty of things to do. Here are the highlights from each side of Niagara Falls. You may want to consider booking this full-day tour to see the most popular attractions in Niagara Falls, New York, and Ontario. Don't forget your passport or visa. Niagara Falls, Canadian side. Sightseeing at Niagara Falls is the best done from the Canadian side. Most tourist attractions are there, and the views of the falls are better. Many tourists at Niagara Falls, Canada resembles an amusement park because of the many things to do. There are several hotels and casinos near the falls in Ontario. Even though these large accommodations are somewhat imposing on the natural environment, the waterfall provides a great backdrop. Niagara Falls, US side. Niagara Falls, US is a great place to enjoy outdoor recreation and natural activities. Even though the views of the falls aren't as spectacular on the American side, there are still plenty of things to do. Niagara Falls State Park is the oldest state park in the country. It is worth visiting. Keep in mind that New York side of Niagara Falls offers more opportunities to connect with nature and get some fresh air. Things to do in Canada Niagara Falls. During your trip, you booked a tour, which includes a helicopter tour, boat ride to the falls, dinner at the Skyline Tower, and more. For the first-time visitor, it is the best way to see the falls. You can see the majesty of the Niagara Falls on a Niagara Falls boat tour. Voyage the Falls is the best attraction on the Canadian side. Experience a one-of-a-kind view of the Horseshoe Falls on this tour. Before reaching Horseshoe Falls, the boat passes the American and Bridalveil Falls. You can either stay inside the cabin or go outside with a poncho. I recommend booking a full-day tour to see the voyage to the falls and other attractions on the Canadian side. The best way to get close to the Niagara Falls is on a journey behind the falls. One of the top Niagara Falls attractions is Journey Behind the Falls. The tour takes you right behind the Horseshoe Falls, offering one of the best views of Niagara Falls. The underground tunnels are 130 feet down, an elevator from the Table Rock Center next to the falls. You cannot replicate this experience anywhere else, so book your ticket early. Niagara Falls, best thing to do is eat at the Skyline Tower. The Skyline Tower is a must-see. While you're on the Canadian side of the Niagara Falls Observation Tower offers a panoramic view of the waterfalls from nearly 520 feet high. The elevators, known locally as Yellow Bugs, are fully gas-paned. Skyline Tower has two dining options, the 360 viewpoint of the revolving dining room or Summit Suite Buffet. There are great menus at both restaurants. Niagara Falls Zipline, a fun thing to do. A zipline ride in Niagara Falls is one of the top things to do. To reach the Horseshoe Falls, the Niagara Falls Zipline travels almost 2,200 feet across Niagara, Georgia. People with vertigo may find it frightening, but it's completely safe and even has automatic braking. Fly down the zipline with your friends and take photos from the observation platform. If you want to experience this activity, book in advance. The best way to visit Niagara Falls is by helicopter. Consider a Niagara Falls helicopter tour for another perspective. During this 12-minute flight, you'll see the Niagara Whirlpool and the Rainbow Bridge. From a bird's eye view, you'll see the Queen Victoria Park, Skyline Tower, and all of Toronto's. My top recommendation is a helicopter ride, and you can also do this from the American side. See the views from Niagara Falls Skywheel. Skywheel rides are a must when visiting Niagara Falls, Ontario. It's the tallest observation wheel in Canada. Clifton Hill is nearby and has amazing views of the falls. Skywheel rides last about 10 minutes, and the cabins are fully enclosed and climate controlled, so you can enjoy them year-round. Skywheel is the best place to view Niagara Falls at night. The Niagara Falls fireworks are also popular here, so book your ticket early, especially if you want to ride at a specific time. best place to see Horseshoe Falls is Terrain Point and Goat Island. Terrapin Point Lookout and Goat Island is one of the most top Niagara Falls tips. You'll get awesome views of the Canadian Horseshoe Falls and Niagara Fjords from the lookout. Getting to Goat Island requires crossing a bridge over the Niagara River. Take a walk along the walking trails or check out the Cave of the Wines, another popular tourist attraction in Niagara Falls. Made of the Mist, the official boat tour of Niagara Falls. Boat tours are a great way to experience Niagara Falls, US. A popular attraction on this side of the falls is the Made of the Mist boat ride. You'll travel along the Niagara Falls Gorge and briefly venture into the Canadian waters before returning to the US side of Niagara Falls. Boats depart every 15 minutes and the trip takes about 20 minutes. Book this tour, which also includes access to Cave of the Winds in advance. On the US side of Niagara Falls, the Cave of Winds is a must-do. Among Niagara Falls, USA attractions in the Cave of the Winds, there are platforms that lead to the base of the bridge via falls, where you can see a natural cove discovered in the 1830s. Across Niagara Gorge, you'll traverse wooden bridges and stairs. Make sure your shoes have good traction and your poncho is handy. Hurricane Deck is named after the conditions as you approach the falls, which are similar to those of a hurricane. You can explore the World's Change Here Pavilion, a multimedia exposition explaining Niagara Falls history before descending 165 feet to the wet and windy platforms. Niagara Falls American Falls is one of the best places to visit. Horseshoe Falls in Canada and the most famous, but Bridalveil Falls and American Falls are also spectacular. From the US side of Niagara Falls, the American Falls stand nearly 100 feet tall. Prospect Point is the best place to view them, since Luna Island is between American and Bridalveil Falls. You should also check out the view. There aren't many tourists on the island, so it's a unique place to see waterfalls. Old Fort Niagara is a must-see on the US side of Niagara Falls. On the US side, Old Fort Niagara is also interesting. Niagara River flows into the Ontario in Youngstown. You can either drive or book this tour, which includes a Maid of the Mist ride. In 1726, the French Empire built the fort. In addition to its historic building, there is a museum at the Visitor Center. Almost everything in Niagara Falls is contending with Fort Niagara State Park. There are several hiking trails nearby if you're looking for some more natural sightseeing. The best time to visit Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is a beautiful any time of the year, so you might wonder when to visit. It depends on what you do and what attractions you want to see. In the summer, all the tourist attractions are open, but it can get pretty hot and crowded. It's quite expensive to book accommodation and tour tickets months in advance. In the spring, you can see some tourist attractions and get a cheaper hotel rate. It's less crowded, but the weather can be unpredictable. If you're more interested in nature, fall is the best time to visit Niagara Falls. Fall colors and foliage are gorgeous. The weather is nice and there are new tourists. Niagara Falls might not seem like a good winter vacation destination since most attractions are closed. In the winter, however, the falls freeze over, making one of the most extraordinary sights. That's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to stay tuned.